What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another match review for you guys as Spurs crashed out the FA Cup at the hands of Sheffield United, Championship side. Sheffield United 1-0 at Bramall Lane last night. We were up there, got back at silly o'clock last night. We were on a coach full of Spurs fans on the way back, and I don't think anyone said a word to anyone on the whole way back. It was absolutely like a funeral last night, and the performance was an absolute tragedy on the pitch last night. I mean, how many times are we going to sit here in the same round of the FA Cup, same round of the Cups, all these different trophies that we've been in the last few years, and have embarrassing defeats? Last night, when you're looking at the outlook of the FA Cup, you know, a lot of big teams already out. Manchester United, Man City, Brighton, the only teams left in it. If we would have won last night, we'd be playing Blackburn to get to a FA Cup semi-final for a chance to go to Wembley once again. But the team fell flat on their face once again. It seemed as though, like, I didn't really understand why, because like it's such a big opportunity for us yesterday. It was such a big game, one of the biggest games we've had this season, if not the biggest. And you're looking at it, and I was looking on the pitch last night, and I was like, it doesn't even look like these players care. I mean, there was no fight, no passion. Nothing there to see on that pitch. And like when you're looking at it, like the only player really that looked like that was putting in any effort last night was Lucas Moura. He was getting the ball, he was driving at players, he was taking people on. Yeah, the quality wasn't there at the end of those runs, but at least someone was having a go and trying something. Everyone else was so passive. The defending for that goal that we saw yesterday was absolutely shambolic. I mean, Højbjerg just pulling out of challenges, putting his hands up, stepping back. Porro, absolutely terrible. Davinson Sanchez, I mean, how many players were culpable for that goal last night? Fraser Forster getting beaten at his front post. I mean, so many players were culpable for that goal last night. And in terms of us going forward, I mean, we couldn't lay a glove on them last night. Literally couldn't lay a glove on them. It was absolutely embarrassing to watch. And these fans that travel up in their numbers every single game, week in, week out, home and away, especially away from home. We took 5,500 to Sheffield last night. The fans were in full voice. The passion was there from the fans. It just wasn't reciprocated on the pitch. And when you're looking at the kind of passion from the fans, it was getting weaned out, sucked the life out of us all the way till the end of that game, and us being knocked out of the FA Cup. But look, I do have Sim here with me as well. But
nothing else here. Nothing else to add. I think we can end it there.
No, but like, look, I'm just so gutted and so embarrassed and so distraught about yesterday. I mean, I had to get that off my chest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fuming. I think yesterday, it was a bigger game for the fans than it was for the players and for the club. I think I was clear to see yesterday. Sheffield United made 8 changes of themselves. They clearly were happy to risk going out of the FA Cup with other priorities. Yet we shouldn't be in that same position. We should be taking this game more seriously than the Wolves game on Saturday with the position that we're in. We know that in the league we've put ourselves in a half-decent position that, even obviously if we don't beat Wolves on Saturday, it's not good. But like we have games to save that situation if things do go wrong on Saturday. On yesterday, if you lose, you're out the cup, and as you say, it's a massive opportunity for us to win a trophy for the first time in 15 years. And I think we approached the game completely wrong. Before the game, I looked at the lineup, and obviously you're looking at it, obviously we have a better 11 than Sheffield United, and I didn't have too many problems. But thinking about it, I mean, I think the lineup, especially for me, the forward line, if you really think about it, they got it completely wrong. If you're going to play if you're going to rest Kane and play Richarlison up front, you have to play Kulusevski. Because I know you say Lucas Moura was our best player, and I agree with that, but
it's only slim pickings, that's why.
But if you just look at those 3 players, Richarlison, Son and Nora, who's going to be linking up the play? Who's going to be taking the ball into feet and playing those clever passes and looking for through balls and linking the forward line? There's no one. The only players in our forward line who can do it are Kane and Kulusevski. You can't take both of them out of the forward line. Either you play Richarlison on the left and then you have to play Kane up top, and then you can maybe play Lucas, or you have to play Kulusevski if you're going to play Richarlison and Son on the other side. So I think that was a big mistake, and you saw that yesterday. yesterday, there was absolutely no link-up play between the forward players. There was no passing. Every time Son, Lucas, or Richarlison got the ball, they all tried to dribble and shoot for themselves. None of them tried to link the play at all between them, and I think that's because of the profile of players they are. So I think that they should have seen that coming. They got that completely wrong.
To be fair, though, it was the same when Kane came on. When Kane came on in the last 20 minutes,
We created more chances when Kane came on.
Slightly, but I mean, he hardly had a touch of the ball. I mean, he touched the ball how many times? Hardly any, to be honest. I mean, we created one or two chances after Kane came on, but hardly ever. Hardly.
Yeah, but he only had 20 minutes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, fine, but I still think that that we should have had a player. First of all, we did create more chances when Kane came on, but yeah, we weren't good enough as well for the last 25 minutes. We conceded, I think, 10 minutes after Kane came on.
Yeah.
So obviously, you could argue it wouldn't have helped, but I think if you play Kane from the start, it might look different. We had no focal point as well. We had no player who could actually keep the ball. Richarlison was absolutely atrocious at trying to keep the ball. His hold-up play was terrible.
The bloody corner flag nearly.
Yep. I thought he was anonymous. He was bullied out of the game. He couldn't get involved in it at all. We couldn't make it stick. At least when you played the ball direct into Kane, he can make it stick and he can hold the ball up and bring other players into play. Richarlison, look, to be fair, it's his first game for us in the number 9, so he doesn't obviously it takes an adjustment period. You have to be playing that position consistently to get the best out of him, but he was terrible yesterday in doing that for us and trying to pin the Sheffield United defenders back. And these are the Sheffield United defenders who are their second choice as well, so it's even more worrying. But he couldn't make it stick, and then there was no link between Lucas and Son. The wing backs, their delivery was terrible. Perisic was getting good positions, but his delivery was awful.
Shocking, isn't it? And that's starting to worry me about Perisic a bit recently, because last number of games he's played now, I mean, his delivery is completely off at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. He made 11 crosses during a game, 1 successful cross out of 11. Porro, on his side, it was an interesting one. He didn't seem to get forward too much, Porro, I thought, yesterday. On the few occasions he did get forward, he looked bright. I thought there was one time when I think it was Højbjerg plays a really good lob through ball into him, and he gets the wrong side of Sheffield United backline, and he looked like to create a chance, but he went for goal on his left foot. I think it went over the bar, but that was a good opening from him, but he seemed. If I bring it up, you can bring up the phone. If you look at average position, you can see here Porro is actually quite deep on the right. Perisic is really far up, but Porro is most of the time not going forward. He's kind of just staying back.
It looked like to me that Sheffield United were actually targeting that side by attacking, and maybe that's a consequence of that.
Sheffield United were attacking that side. Maybe I didn't. I'm trying to know. Looks like here I can't really judge by that. I don't know if they were attacking that side specifically. To be honest, I don't think Sheffield United created much. They didn't really do anything before that goal.
It was like one of the worst games I've seen, and we've seen some very bad games.
Look at the stats overall. It was 7 shots for them, 17 for us. But I think that doesn't tell the whole story. I think there you go, one big chance, which was Kane's header late in the game. We had 4 shots on target, but a lot of them were very tame. All of them were pretty much very tame. I think 2 of them were Perisic headers, which were obviously going to be saved. I think Kane had a tame effort as well, which
Porro
was saved.
One over the bar.
Porro hit one over the bar. And look, their keeper didn't have to make a serious save.
No.
That's the truth. So I think the front three, he got it completely wrong. I think playing Sanchez in this game as well was completely wrong. I said that before the game. I wanted Romero in because at least we will know, even if things aren't clicking going forward, you'll have that aggressive player like Romero who's going to get you on the front foot and maybe can force mistakes out of the opposition. That's one way you could kind of find joy. But without him there, we definitely lacked authority in the back line. Not only, basically, we lacked build-up play without him. We lacked aggression off the ball, and we lacked that ability to get us on the front foot by pressing from the back like Romero does. And then on the back of that, Sanchez was just absolutely shambles when he got the ball. I mean, how many times did this guy slip yesterday?
The guy can't stand up straight.
Can't stay on his feet. It's unbelievable.
Stand up straight. I don't get the errors he makes completely under no pressure whatsoever. Like, we signed this guy for 40 million.
Yeah.
40 million we signed this guy for, and he's just getting gradually worse and worse as the years progress.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely unbelievable. And I've got these games here, these absolute terrible games in the cup competitions that we've had pretty much since he's joined. And you're looking at 2019 under Poch, Colchester, we lose to them on penalties. Sanchez, Dyer, Tanganga, Davis and Lucas all in the starting 11. 2019 we lose to Palace 2-0. I think that was at Wembley or was it
No, it was at Selhurst.
At Selhurst. And Sanchez, Dyer and Lucas all play. I think that was in the 4th round or the 5th round of the FA Cup. 2022 under Jose against Norwich on penalties. Dyer, Sanchez and Lucas all start the game. 2021 when we lose to Zagreb 3-0 after being 2-0 up from the first leg. Sanchez, Dyer, Davis and Lucas all start the game. Nuno, 2021, Vitesse 1-0 in the Europa Conference League. Sanchez and Davis start the game. 2021, Mura, a semi-professional side. We lose 2-1. Tanganga and Sanchez start the game. 2022, Middlesbrough 1-0 after extra time. Dyer and Davis start the game. 2022, Nottingham Forest this season, when we lost to them in the League Cup. Dyer and Sanchez start the game. And then yesterday, obviously, 1-0 against Sheffield United. Dyer, Davis, Sanchez and Lucas all start this game. I mean...
So, should we be that surprised then? I mean,
it's a constant theme with these players. It's a constant theme for how many years now? Since 2019 and probably before that as well.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we're still relying on them. It's 2023 now, and we're still relying on them based on the evidence they've continually let us down. Like, it's madness. Mm-hmm. What was the first game there? 2018, 2017?
The one on here, 2019 Colchester.
2019 Colchester. 2019 Palace was before then, I think. But so they've let us down 5 years ago in these cup competitions, and we're still relying on them. Like, it's one thing if 6 years ago they didn't let us down and maybe we won a trophy with these players, and even then you would say it's probably still too long to rely on them, even if they were doing well 6 years ago. But the fact that 6 years ago they weren't doing well and we're still relying on them 6 years later is absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that we're in this situation. And I just think that when it comes to these cup competitions, we know that the board don't judge their managers on these cup competitions. They're not interested in them.
The fact of the matter is, if you win the FA Cup, you get prize money of like 2 million or something like that.
Yeah.
This game against Milan alone is worth 10 million. So I mean,
that's it.
That's what it comes down to. And
I could, for the life, I can all I want say, look, I want Spurs to take this FA Cup seriously. I want Kane starting. I want Romero starting. I want a full strength team. I don't want to go out in the FA Cup to Sheffield United. Or, look at the opportunity we have to win this cup. But at the end of the day, if you're a manager managing Tottenham Hotspur, whoever you are, you can blame it on Conte, you can blame it on Poch, you can blame it on whoever you are. If you win the FA Cup and finish outside the top 4, there's a good chance you're going to get sacked. Whereas if you finish top 4 and go out in the 3rd round, then you're going to get a new deal. You'll keep your job, and you'll get praise. So at the end of the day, what are you going to take more seriously? If you have a game in the league on the weekend and you have the FA Cup game, you're going to rest players for the FA Cup game because you know that you're going to get in more shit if you lose the league game. That's just the stark reality. So I'm pissed off at the management for resting those players and picking that lineup, and especially the way they played it. There's a way of resting players but still keeping the structure of the team or still keeping the same profiles, but they didn't do it in the right way. But at the end of the day, do I really blame them for resting players when their job remit isn't to win this competition? That's not what they're hired here. That's not why the board hired them. The board haven't hired them to win these games. The board have hired them to get in the Champions League. That's why they've hired them. So from that sense, I can't really I can't expect Conte to make this a priority as much as the fans want it to be a priority, and that's the reality for them.
Yeah, but a game against Sheffield United, I mean, you start Romero in this game. I mean, we said it before this game. I even think if you start Romero, even alone, just Romero for Sanchez in this game, it gives us so much of a better chance to go and win that game. Just that one player. Mm-hmm. And you're telling me that starting Romero instead of Sanchez in this game is going to be at the detriment of the game on the weekend and the Milan game? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And it's not good enough. It's not good enough from the management. It's not good enough from the players. And it's most certainly not good enough from the board. I think everyone comes under fire for this result, in my opinion.
Of course. Yeah, well, no one escapes criticism. The players don't escape criticism. No one does. It was a shit show from start to finish. I just wonder if the mentality of the board kind of like filters down into the management and then the players, and then this is a theme now. Ever since we got to a semi-final in the FA Cup, as you say, we've gone out in the 5th round or before, and more often than not is to I think every year it's been to inferior teams as well. Teams that we're probably favourites for all those games that we've gone out, but in all those games we've probably rested players and probably played weakened teams, and that's why we've ended up in a situation where we keep going out early unnecessarily, and this one stings the most because of how much of an opportunity this really was to go get to our first FA Cup final since 1991. I don't think we're going to get a better opportunity for a few years, and that is why this one stings so much after yesterday. And just to see the lack of fight, the lack of passion, effort. Even Stellini said the energy levels were not what they should be yesterday. And that is because of the attitude going into the game. And this is what we said before. I don't want us to turn up thinking this is just we can rest players and it's gonna be an easy game and it's gonna you can just turn up and win. I want to see us take it seriously, and I don't think we did.
It's just like classic Tottenham, isn't it? Like every time you think you're turning a corner, they do something to slap you in the face. Every time it looks like we've got a winnable game in the cup to get a really good foothold in it. They slap you in the face. I mean, all these games, right, which I named off before, every single one of them, I think we've gone out there and have like the kind of mentality that we've won the game before we've even gone on the pitch. That kind of mentality, and you cannot have that mentality when you've got players like Dyer, Sanchez, Davis, and Lucas in the starting lineup. You just can't do that. You're not good enough to do that.
Agreed. And it got proven. And even though Sheffield United, who probably couldn't care less if they would have gone through or not, made 8 changes, and they still had more fight than us. They still were able to keep us at bay, and they ended up finding that one moment during the game which we weren't able to do. And I have to say that goal is just pathetic from everyone around. Yeah. Everyone around, from Højbjerg to Porro to Sanchez to Forster. I just thought every single one can hang their heads in shame after that goal. In my opinion, it was. I know in Dye he's clearly a tricky customer. Clearly his dribbling was decent, but from Højbjerg pulling out of a challenge and then just stopping. I understand he doesn't want to hang out his leg because he might give away a penalty, but you can't just stop. You can't just put your hands and stop. You got to just follow the play. He just stops. He's like, okay, it's not my responsibility anymore. Porro way too easily turned, and then he turned a second time and died. And I think Porro really could have got round and made a tackle, but again, he didn't have the will to do it. Sanchez just stands there and allows Ndiaye to get past him. He was very easily beaten for that one. Dyer tries to block it. I don't think it was a great attempt to block.
Didn't he just turn his back?
He just turned his back and put his leg out. It wasn't a great attempt to block. He should have been a bit more aggressive as well, but he was probably the least at fault for it. And then Forster, I think, took an age to get down, swings leg at it. I've seen it again. People say he's unsighted, and he was, but I do, looking at the goal again, I do think most goalkeepers in the Premier League, their reflexes save that. I just think he was slow to react to it. I think he had enough time to react to it. It wasn't that close range and I don't think the shot was that powerful or accurate that he escapes criticism when he gets a big boot to it. And I think he should have kept out as well, Forster. It wasn't the best shot as well. So I think he takes a lot of blame for the goal. So it was a complete shit show all round, that goal. And I think that was all we deserved for how we approached the game and how lacking creativity we were, our inability to create chances and really dominate the game. And you're just asking for a moment like that to happen. It was like we were sleepwalking to extra time. It was like, all right, maybe we'll take it to extra time and then really force issue again. But it's like we didn't have the character to even get it that far. We can see we leaked a stupid goal, and then we never looked like scoring. We had one chance near the end with Kane, but that was really it.
Yeah, and it's like every time in these games when Kane doesn't start, it's just like it's a shit show, and then everyone's just like, all right, come on, Kane, come and save us. You can't save us every time, you know what I mean? It's just such an embarrassment last night, and it's a consistent embarrassment now. All these games I mentioned since 2019 to 2023. How many games is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nine games in that time where it's just been absolutely embarrassment in these cup competitions, in these European competitions as well. But look, That is our match review. But having said all this, yeah, we were coming into this game so confident, and we always lose these kind of games. We're probably going to be questioning this Wolves game. We'll go and win it against Wolves on the weekend with Romero and Kane back in the side. But it's just not good enough, man. And when are we going to learn our lesson? When are we going to get rid of these players? And when are we going to replace these players? That's what I want to know.
When are we going to start taking these cups seriously? It's been a long time now, and it's just not good enough. And if we're ever going to break that trophy drought, we can't give up opportunities like yesterday. Yesterday, we should have taken really seriously and made sure we get through. And even if it means going full strength and then start resting players once we're ahead, instead of what we did yesterday, saving the situation by bringing on the players instead. And it was not good enough. And also, I have to say, the subs, I thought, were really poor.
Yeah.
Really poor subs. I actually thought Porro was actually starting to get more involved, and then they decided to take him off just as he was starting to get more involved in the attacking play, which was really annoying. Lucas, they took him off when he was our brightest attacker. Sarr, I didn't think had a bad game, although I thought Skip did all right when he came on, to be fair. But I just don't understand why take off Porro, put Kulusevski at wing-back, bring on Danjuma and play him on the right. I didn't really understand all those kind of... I know he's kind of going gung-ho, but why not take Son off and put Danjuma on the left where he's more comfortable and keep Porro on when he's getting more involved? I don't know. I thought the subs were poor and it didn't really help. So it was just a terrible shit show of a day yesterday, but really bad day at the office. And it leaves a sour taste in your mouth when you're looking at the remainder of the season. That's another chance of a trophy gone. Kane looked fuming at the end of the day. And it's days like yesterday which are going to make him question his future. When you have days like that, and again, as you say, the 5th year in a row now, we've gone out in a cup competition, which obviously we really want to win. He wants trophies, and we've gone out to a cup competition to a game when we're favourites. These are the games where he probably sits after and he thinks, what am I doing here? And obviously,
championship opposition.
Yeah, absolutely not embarrassing. And as these days, obviously, we still got a lot to fight for. But once we exit the Champions League, which, it could be next week, but it could be a bit down the line. But once we do exit the Champions League, then and that final opportunity of a trophy goes, especially if we exit it in a really bad way, then Kane is just going to be sitting there thinking, that's just another year chalked off. You know what I mean? Another year done and nothing to show for it.
And you can't blame him. You can't blame him for thinking that way whatsoever. But look, that is our match review for the embarrassing 1-0 defeat at Bramall Lane last night. Player ratings will be with you soon. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Put your thoughts on the game in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.